Hello everybody, my last video before bed. It's 10 o'clock. I gotta get to bed. My eyes are gone. I can't even, I won't be able to read comments, but I'll give it that minute to let people log on, and it always takes a bit. People say, oh, get to talk, and it's like, well, these are lives, real first person. I have to wait for people to come on. So I see people are starting to come on, and I wanted to make this video specifically for you, Dean Fortin. He's a great guy, and a lot of people out there that are what I call the Doubting Thomas. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm of the St. Thomas Archdiocese, and I'm in that path. This is the Gospel according to John. For anyone who's never read it, there was one of the 12 who doubted, and I guess I'm a doubter too. I always have to cross my T's, dot my I's. I always need absolute truth. I need facts, and I present that. That's all I've done. Why I get into that and the story of Doubting Thomas. Everyone has heard that. Oh, that guy's a Doubting Thomas. It's always somebody who never believes until it's absolutely real right now in their face. And it's not to knock Dean. I get it. I want to highlight this for all Canadians and Indigenous citizens in Canada, First Peoples, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, settled, unsettled, unceded, ceded, treaty, non-treaty status, outstanding, or even off reserve, thrown off the reserve. I want to get this to all of you, all of you. We're going to go back in time to 1961. Canada gives Indigenous women, because they fought so hard, they give you your rights to vote without having to marry a white man, without having to give up your First Nation status. You finally get it. 1961. Women fought hard for that. Yay, right? But wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Why did Canada, who fought, all of a sudden in 1961, the King's Court, Supreme Court of Canada, by our government, all of a sudden do a flip-flop and give you all human rights to voting? Why would they do that? Well, I'm going to take you back in time to 1960, just a few months before. Canada was forced by none other than the P5 once more. For all of you Doubting Thomases out there, I have gone through every binding world law, meaning P5 had to vote for it, absolutely, with not one voting no. Okay, they can abstain. In 1960, some did abstain from 1514. What is 1514, Canada? The end. The decolonization of the entire world by law. By law. International binding law. Now, UK, France, USA could go back on that at any time. They could unbind it, but they won't. They won't. UK is not that animal anymore. Neither's France, and the reality is USA's never been a colonizing country. Very limited dip their toes in it. Very limited. Very, very limited. And then they quickly got out of it long before 1960. The reality is Canadians, First Nations, women, Indigenous, and all of those who I've listed, you only want it because Canada was armbarred by international law a few months before. Now, for everybody, what I'm doing on Monday with the UNSC P5, I've already won. China, likely Russia, likely USA, likely UK, and I'm sure France will come on board. They've been very quiet when it comes to children's genocide. They have historically always been 100% on the money. Historically, I have every single UN resolution that's ever been put in. I know what's non-binding and binding. This is the massive undertaking of work I've done. I have mastered international law. This is 100%. Dean, everybody, the reality is it only takes one. And we have China already published. They've already done it. Syria, which is not a P5, but Syria backed by Russia. Russia will, just as Russia did decolonization in 1960. It was Russia. Russia alone freed the indigenous women of Canada, freed you, and bound Canada to international law forever, unless one of the other five goes back on it. But they will not. USA has already made the 19th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, and they will never allow their Constitution to be breached. That's a fact. This is reality, everybody. June 28th is the day that Canada does not get away from this. Historically, every time an international binding law has been made, literally within months, your perverted, autocratic Canadian government, total crown colonial, quivers, shits in their pants, and quickly and unanimously transfers to the Supreme Court of Canada and all superior courts. This is the new law. Just do it. Hopefully the five allies never know that we stole the crown and we are full autocrat colonials. June 28th, here Monday, ladies and gentlemen, the P5 are going to vote on Canada, at least look at it, and one's going to present. When the resolution gets done, and it may take some time after that, the reality is it's going to be brought up. It's going to be brought to their attention. Whether it's one or all five doesn't matter. It's the veto that matters. And there is not one of the five who will veto. Not one of them. Canada is absolutely and unanimously fucked. When I say that, all the filthy, corrupt politicians are screwed forevermore. ICC can rage on for years. That's a fact. Is everything going to be solved overnight? No. But Canada's politicians, once they see that and it's presented, and should the resolution go, which it will in time, they're screwed. And Canada will move very, very quickly. They already are. They're already trying. They're damnedest, shitting their pants. Every single party, all opposition, every party registered in Canada is going, the jig's up. We got to try and convince the masses. We got to silence people. They can't silence me. People are saying, oh, they're going to kill you. I don't think so. The power to kill is in the hands of the five. Canada is basically a coward. Our politicians are all cowards, just like the Nazis were cowards, cowards, cowards. There is no politician alive today in Canada that would ever risk losing their life for everything they've stolen from all of you, including the First Nations peoples. They're not going to risk losing their power and all that money. They're hoping somehow they can at least navigate and somehow keep their heads down and keep on being colonial, even though absolutely in 1960 it is clearly against international law, and there's justice for that. And it's kind of funny, I bring up enfranchisement that was done to the first peoples of Canada, the women. That's going to be brought up again too inside the letter. Small, but it's really a focus of children's genocide that's absolutely going to destroy the Canadian colonial system forever. The autocracy will have to change. Now, politicians, you're all right, a lot of you skeptics. The politicians may reign on with the media and all their bullshit for a couple of years. It could be a couple of years. That's, I would say, worst case scenario, a couple of years. But as the world opens up, and starting with the P5, again, it only takes 1 and 4 not voting no. And if that happens, which I'm clearly sure it's going to be brought, I'm very certain it's going to be brought up on the 28th. It's already been brought up by China, and that's all you need. Russia did it once, USA's done theirs, France has done theirs, UK's done theirs. I can go through so many. If the other four don't say no and they turn it over to the world and the world gets to decide, either way it doesn't matter. The reality is, one way or another, it's coming to an end for Canada and colonialism. It was abolished in 45, read your UN Charter, backed up in 1952 by absolutely none other than King George. It started in 41 with Prime Minister of the UK, Sir Winston Churchill, and King George VI, but finalized for Canada in 1952. Finalized. You greasy politicians stole it. They stole the embedded power of Governor General and Lieutenant Governor and never dismembered the Canadian Constitution and redesigned it from 1867. They said, we will take all that power from all the Canadians and all the Indigenous. We will keep it for us, the first class. We will rape, pillage, and plunder. We will steal forevermore. In that system, defined by first, second, third class. And so you all know, in that 1867, I'm a Boilermaker is the union I belong to. Did you know clearly and consistently it is the Boilermaker, which is the forger, this is your welder by your trade, are absolutely listed and interpreted as the third class, meaning you go down with the ship. You run everything in all its filth. You do all the work. You get very little pay, very little prestige at all. You are peasants. And when the ship goes down, the Boilermaker goes down with it. They lock all the trapdoors and the ship sinks with you in it. You don't get to flood the water up. It gives more time for the first class to take their sweet ass time in getting to the only limited number of lifeboats. And very few of those second class can buy their way onto a lifeboat. This is factual, real, and truthful. So First Nations know you're under the third class. You're under the third class. You're to be genocided from that system. That is absolutely the 1867 Constitution of Canada. You're not even listed. You're not even human beings according to the Canadian Constitution. But neither are the boat people, the Canadian citizens. The third class, absolutely. You don't even exist. Very limited talk, inherited system. And that is for the welder, the Boilermaker, the forger, the smith. You go down with the ship, not the captain. That's all bullshit. The reality is the truth, clearly defined third class. Now, as the years gone by, all of us have gravitated to different trades, fields, new technologies. Regardless, you are the third class. You are the peasant working citizen who has absolutely no authority or say in any way, shape, or form in rule of law. You are subject to. That was ruled illegal in 1945, negotiated harshly by the former Soviet Union and the United States of America, where the old United Kingdom and the old animal known as France, UK, were under siege by absolute colonial powers of the world when the League of Nations reigned free, where all white people who were colonial countries, only colonial countries, were the power and the say. Very limited. Japanese were colonial. That was the only very white-skinned yellow race that was ascended along with that system. Anyone of any other color or limited status of third class around the world had absolutely no rights at all. Women, very limited, unless you were a white woman of that colonial system. Anyone outside of that did not exist. There was no world system for you. You were shit. You were not a human being listed in any kind of world constitution whatsoever. Now, this is absolute truth, verifiable, factual. It's clearly history. It was the negotiation turned over by UK and France. They had to give it all up or they wouldn't be UNSC today. They had to give it all up. Canada has carried on. Some other countries have too, but it's not my place The law of sovereignty does not give me any powers to go ahead and start talking about other states. And I give it to people in comments about, please do not put UNSC P5 members, regardless of perceived crimes or things they do in the world. Everything now is all about Canada, our focus inward, and our country that is grossly in violation of world laws. And come the 28th, that's going to be highlighted for the UNSC. And make no mistake, one or maybe all five are going to bring it up. But that's all that matters. And should a resolution go through, Canada's doomed. Doomed. And it will come. Things change in this world. Histories happen. All we can do is fight left, right, and put them down. Put them down. That's what we do. We have to end the class system. You're in a class system eradicated in this world, Canadians, First Nations. And for a vast majority of you, you are at the bottom, not even in the Constitution of Canada. You don't exist because you live inside a system outlawed, again, started in 1941. Then it went to 1945, absolute, the UN Charter. Queen Elizabeth II told you all to read it. Every single one of you. She's told you twice. Twice in history, once in black and white in 56, again in 2012. She told all of you. It was ended officially in 1952 for Canada. Absolutely ended officially. But your government stole it. And then in 1960 it was ruled completely illegal. And all that was changed that Canada was caught with, because those powers couldn't distinguish the like nouns, even the English ones, didn't realize there was a dictionary for Canada. There's a dictionary for the United States. There's a dictionary for the UK. There's a French dictionary for France. There's a Russian dictionary for Russia. There's a dictionary for China. And in all those, they never figured out, especially the non-colonials, USA, why would they suspect they're not a colonial country? They didn't understand. UK knew, but they don't have that definition that way. They changed their dictionary right away. Canadian Oxford Dictionary, however, continues the colonial descriptions of the same nouns, empowering Canada's autocracy, but none of those other countries have it. It's all gone. And when they look at Canada and they see those nouns, you go, oh, what's the big deal? Those are no big deal until you actually open up Canada's Oxford Dictionary and you read the definition of the Canadian nouns. There's your legal speak for scholars who may be watching. This guy went through it all entirely, painstakingly. I go through all of it, just as I've gone through the entirety of the UN. Every single resolution since its inception till now, who voted what and how many times it was voted down by the UNSC. First Nations women, Doubting Thomas, my friend Dean, I'm sorry, I just have to say that to you. Enfranchisement, the gross abuse of Indigenous women across Canada. Give up your culture, all part of the assimilation, was ended in 1961 in Canada, not because Indigenous women had massed the strength and following and finally beat the government. It's because the government of Canada was mandated by none other than international law, the P5. And who saved those women? Russia. And the rest of the P5 backed him up and said, it's okay. We're not going to vote no. We're going to let it go through. We're going to let the General Assembly decide. And the world decided. That's the only time the world gets to bind international law, is when the UNSC P5 allow them to. That's a history lesson for you. So if you all think that on June 28th, when that letter goes in with all your signatures and Indigenous, the sons and daughters of Canada, a couple law firms, this is how we get a resolution. And this is what will happen. This will happen again. It will happen. If it's not, then you know what? It's okay. Within the next few years, absolutely it'll be done. It'll be done. And yes, Canada will rage on, and all of you who follow me, and the following will grow all the way up to the election. But I promise you, by 2023, regardless of how I go, this will be coming to light. And you know what? You'll all have been on the ground, up and running, go, my God, we changed the world, we changed Canada, and there isn't a wealthy one among us. Well, there's quite a few actual wealthy people following me or friending me on Facebook, but we're not going to highlight them because they're second-class citizens too. They may have the money to buy their way off the boat onto one of the first-class citizens' lifeboats, but it all depends. A lot of you, they wouldn't give you a seat because you're not that kind of person. You don't have, even with all your vast wealth, you don't have enough money. Look at the history of all this, everybody. Look what 1867 represents, the embedded Constitution. You'll find the history and where it comes from in that colonial system. You'll learn everything I've told you is 100% truth. You've never heard it before, but I could pick all kinds of things that Canadians and Indigenous people have thought they've won, and it wasn't by your Canadian government. No, siree, Bob. They would never let you have nothing. Most of your rights and freedoms, even though they have this charter, the only ones they give you are when the world says you must give them those rights and freedoms. And then Canada, whichever political party's in power, both federally, provincially, quickly adopt them as fast as possible. Just like now, all of a sudden, now we're going to investigate as quickly as possible. We're going to spend all the taxpayers' money to get this addressed and try and make everything look like Canada is the best country in the world. No, Canada is a corrupt country with fully autocratic politicians that when they get caught in the P5, when their lives are at risk, when their system's at risk, they quickly, like real true blue cowards, all of them of every stripe, quickly run and change everything, make it, oh, it's all better for now. Just don't take away our power. Don't take away our autocracy. Let us kill the peasants. Let us finish the genocide of the Indigenous people. Don't look at us. We'll do whatever you want. I'll give all the money of all the Canadian citizens, all the resources away to you. Just don't punish me. Punish the people of my country. Allow me to punish them. Allow me to continue the genocide. And that has just continued over and over and over again. The people of Canada and the Indigenous First Nations people of all the walks I listed can be the wealthiest citizens in the world. Should we rise up and abolish this system? Elect the CCP in 2023. Help get the 338 done. And for the first time, never mind right and left. Let's focus on the prize, which is all of you, each and every one of you. And you will all be 10 times more wealthy than you are now. Maybe not everybody. There's a first-class citizenry that's going down. And some of those paid second-class citizens who paid into the boats, the lifeboats, they're going down too. Nothing lasts forever, but I believe there's enough second class to bolster absolutely all of the third class to get this job done. I have faith in each and every one of you. It's great to look at things and be real critical. I love that. I do that myself. That's how I've gotten this far, to be absolutely critical, to be the biggest doubting Thomas. But on this, all of you skeptics, I am not wrong. This is going forward on the 28th, and you will all see. Thank you. That's my last video of the night. Share, share, share. Good night.